Right then, just going to do a quick video walk around of this 1986 Honda RS125 race bike. There's obviously a load of pictures, but just front to back, so where it was, how I got it, and what I've done to it since I've had it. I've had it for a year and raced it in the CRMC. It's got its eligibility certificate. In terms of what this bike needs to race it right now, it needs a brake lever guard. It needs a bung to go in that foot peg, and I've got a brand new foot peg and bung to go on. That'll be done for sale. I'll chuck a brake lever guard in, and that is essentially it to be ready to race. It's already got the transponder mount on it, so I'll just give you a quick rundown of how I bought it and the mods I've done since I've got it. So bought it in this condition. Since I've had it, then it came with these PVM wheels. It's got the original floating front caliper on it. I believe that's an original original front caliper. The master cylinder is off a later generation Honda, but it is a 1/2-inch bore diameter, so it's correct for the piston size on that. Really good front brake. Anyone who's tried it knows that that is a very good front brake. Original throttle tube assembly. I've had the forks polished up, lowers and yokes. They're looking very nice. Internally they are running YSS emulators with uprated, I think they're 0.65 kilogram springs. I've got all the details for that, including the instruction guides for the YSS dampers. Had fresh fluid at the start of last season. I think it's running 5-weight. I'll confirm all that in the specs. Running original clocks. I've also added this Trail Tech inline temperature gauge, which sits in the head outlet pipe there, so you get a much better idea. These original gauges only start at 50 degrees, which is not ideal when you're on the start line trying to warm it up. You don't know where you are, so that's a good improvement. So these are original yokes that have been polished up. When I got it, I repacked the head bearings. There's a few issues in there that I addressed all with OEM parts. It's currently running one Renthal clip on that side, a cheaper bar that side. I've got a matching Renthal that'll be included. I've got these nice CMC bar clamps off another guy. They're very nice, and I've got a set of spares, cheaper Chinese ones, in the spares kit. So it's running the original factory steering damper. There's no issues with that. Standard kill switch. As I said, it's already got the transponder mount on it. I'll talk about the bodywork all later. So engine, in terms of tuning, it's got no tuning on it, not on the head or the barrel or anything like that. It's running a VHM crank and a VHM piston. The VHM crank is probably getting up to 1,000 miles. I'll confirm that in the details, so you should consider it's by the specs it's ready for a rebuild, although there's no side to side or end float I could pick up when I had the head off. I could possibly do the new piston, and there's a light bit of deck damage on this head. Again, I've got pictures and separate documentation for that. Running a standard carb. Oh, before I move on, yeah, it's not running this top mount, and if you can see in there, because it cracks the head. So although I've got the parts for it included in the spares kit. Oh, the radiator I had pressure tested, and that was verified as all good, and it's just had a light coat of high temperature black, although you can see it's rubbed off a little bit there. But yeah, no issues with the cooling system. That's all lovely. Moving on. Hi Liz, sorry, all the neighbours are out while I'm doing a video. Moving on, it's got the Sawford fairing mounts, lightweight fairing mounts there and there with the quick release R clips, as you can see. What else is there to say? Oh, it's got Samco hoses on it. So I'll do the rest of the other side of the engine before I move on. So as I say, no tuning work done on the head or the barrel. It has got a Gibson silencer on it, Spanny, although it doesn't say so. I assume it is a Gibson. The guy I bought it off used to work for them. It's got an aftermarket clutch case cover because the original one's corroded out. I've got the original one included. It does have some corrosion damage where the water pump impeller is, but that could be repaired, so that'll be included as well. We've got the V-Force reeds in there. They're supposed to be good for a 1/2 to 1 horsepower. Original carb, original fuel tank. Yeah, nothing really else to say about it. It's all as is. I've got a bit of extra seat foam on there. The rear brake, well, I'll talk about these. It's got the Battle rear sets. This one for the rear brake isn't quite correct. So you can see it works for fashion, I've had to make up a little adapter. It's not quite in line. It's never bothered me because I don't use the rear brake, and it does what it needs to do for scrutineering purposes. So I'm not going to bother doing anything else with that, just making you aware. And then it's got the Maxton rear shocks on. It's currently running springs suited for my weight, which is about 87 kilos at the moment. I've got a lighter set as well, which I'll include. So most riders probably aren't stupid enough to be as heavy or quite as tall as me, which is why I'm selling it. PVM rear wheel. Condition wise, a little bit of gravel rash on the rear wheel. I have parted company with the tarmac a few times on it this year. So that's it really for standard stuff. It's running obviously as it's a PVM rear wheel. It's got the Talon quick release rear sprocket bits and pieces on it, and again the battle peg the other side. Yeah, no issues with the gear shift, that's all good. Now in terms of general condition, what I would say is I've done some repairs on these fairing units where they go. I got in there and made a nice repair on the inside, so they're actually in good condition. So there's no real issues with that seat unit, to be honest. Could use a bit of rubbing down, or I've got some excess fibres straying on. I've made a bit of a seat pad. I've got an original that goat mounts onto the original holes. I'll include that, so that can be redone. It's absolutely no issues with the fuel tank, that's good. What I would say is in terms of front fairing, cosmetically, I mean, it's functionally good. There's a very small hole appearing at the bottom where it touches the Gibson spanny. This front fender, it's sort of gone through that mounting tab there, and as you can see, it's got some damage there. This is a double bevel screen. It's got a crack there and a piece missing. It's much better on the other side because, you know, it hasn't been crashed that side. And the only other thing I've had to do with the bike, I got the rear swing arm repowder coated when I first got it. That's got some gravel rash. That is very minor, you barely notice it. The frame's in really nice condition. I didn't touch that from when I got it. So in terms of how this bike compares to a standard one, as I say, engine wise, VHM crank and piston, they shouldn't get you any extra power, just more reliable. It's got the V-force reeds, possibly good for half a horsepower. There really isn't any other performance mods on it. The biggest thing on it, well, the Gibson pipe is definitely a good upgrade. Mate's run it on his bike and it does make a definite noticeable bit of power, although it hasn't been on a dyno, I couldn't tell you how much. The biggest upgrade this bike's got is these lightweight wheels, which are much, much lighter than the original heavy cast items. In terms of selling it then, it currently is as it is. I would suggest if you wanted to make it a really, really mint bike, all it was really going to need is front and top fairing, screen, possibly a mud guard, and a bit of paint, and do whatever you want with the seat unit and the foam, and it will be very, very mint. So in terms of what it comes with at the moment, the spares package wise, I'm just selling it with a load of spare sprockets front and rear. I'll detail the numbers. I've got a spare Talon sprocket carrier that comes with it, which is handy. So if you know ahead of time which sprocket you think you want to go to, you can bolt that up on the carrier and prepare that, and then it's very quick to just throw it in if you want to make a quick change. And it'll come with a set of jets, main and pilot, although you don't need the pilots. But it'll come with them, a few other bits and pieces I've got lying around, like a spare clip-on and some various bits and bobs. I've got some new rear set pegs and stuff like that. So that's the up and down of it. I will post this on YouTube, and if you want any more details, give me a shout. Thank you very much.